All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna see if it has BSS for these two Google searches. And we're back here in the GVC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more about that, pinned video, pinned post, home video, wherever, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So over on the left side here, well, we got FSIC, kind of a graph in white. Over on the left, the highest intent peeps searched on Google, searched on social media, social search for the highest, or for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. So we focus on those peeps. We make our videos at BSS. And wherever on the right, the lowest intent peeps, the only way to reach them is interruption ads via Facebook, Instagram. They ain't searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now, and most of them don't even know what boudoir is. So that's what we talk about over on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. Talk about BLCS, and over there right now, we currently only work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, so now into BSS, Boudoir Search Sameness. So this when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots is bad, that's a fast death, that means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They are one and done. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market if we're on page 2, which means we're going to be dying a fast death. 1 slot on page 1 is not good enough either, because there's 10 organic slots page 1. So that means there's 9 other, could be 9 other boudoir photographers. Everyone else has 1 slot. So everyone else looks the same. Everyone else has 1 slot. Buyers simply, approximately 80% of buyers. So we got to click down everyone, every link on page 1. They're never even going to go to page 2 or anything deeper. But for the 10 that are there, they'll contact everyone, get quotes, price shop everyone, negotiate, stall, delay, blah, blah, blah. Just annoying way to run a business dealing with this. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes, 1 are market saturation, which basically everyone knows about now. People get a new iPhone, new phones, new cameras, new gear. They're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they now for boudoir. They are, throwing up their website saying that for boudoir, competing with us page 1 on Google search, posting in mom groups now from boudoir. This basically lowers margins for everyone, lowers price for everyone, decreases the probability that anyone gets any buyers, because it's more sellers, boudoir photographers for the same number of buyers. Makes it harder for every single seller. And there's a big blast of this COVID. A ton of new boudoir photographers entered the market because everyone lost their jobs, had to earn money. Everyone's got a smartphone, super powered camera, so pretty easy kind of to see why that happened. Now, second, actually the biggest thing, which I've seen is the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses, is the false belief of page 1 equality. And the false belief of page 1 equality, it's kind of like the automatic belief boudoir photographers have had is that, every boudoir photographer gets 0 1 slots page 1 on Google. So if your website ranks there, cool. And maybe you had it there and somebody else came and, ranked their website ranked higher on Google page 1, took you down to, push you out to page 2. And boudoir photographers are like, well, yeah, I'm on page 2 now, I guess I gotta hope they delete their website and Google de-indexes them, so then hopefully Google can put me back on page 1. But no, this is 100% a false belief. It's 100% incorrect. And I know this because I myself went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days using our new methodology we developed. So I know Google will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. 100%. I know that is true, which makes the false belief of page 1 equality false. Now, we also know that boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. That's because, if we got 0 slots page 1 on Google, we're only on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of Google searches. Yeah, we're disappearing and fast. Same if we only got 1 slot on page 1, we're still basically invincible, being price shopped to death. We're getting contact form fill outs, but price shopped, people gotta, they gotta save up for it. We know they ain't never buying. And as a result, both these are kind of the signal. Well, BSS, it's the signal. It's what makes us a disappearing boudoir photographer, but BSS itself is the signal that, the check engine light, the warning light that we're a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means our business is on the path itself to disappearing. That's what that means. But we did finally discover a solution. We discovered it because we invented it. So we've discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And we invented this, and it works exactly as it says, S-cubed methodology. Social search saturation. We're saturating social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city. So we show up there. It's kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains on the backside, the eastern side in South America. So what happens with that snow is it melts, goes into small streams, small rivers, and eventually across the whole mountain range. It all actually flows to the Amazon River, which is the Amazon River is Google page 1. But we got to get our snow up top the mountains first. That's our social search saturation. And so when we rank there, get enough ranking there, then eventually flow onto Google page 1. Now, one of the interesting things is this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight back against market saturation and allow boudoir photographer to grow their business even with more boudoir photographers entering the market every single day in a relatively quick time frame. And the only other solution I've seen that has a few of these properties is to actually have a large, well-known brand. That would definitely persist with market saturation. But dude, that takes like 5 to 10 years. That's not relatively quick. We ain't got time anymore. AI's coming to take more people's jobs every single day. We got to get page 1 domination, page 1 visibility ASAP. And so actually an interesting thing is my estimate is I believe S-cubed methodology actually executing it increased the probability of having a large well-known brand by, speeds it up by my estimate is 8x. So 8 times faster to achieve that. And imagine if you got a large well-known brand and you're using S-cubed methodology. I mean, you're basically untouchable at that point. Now, for example, if S-cubed methodology successfully grown a business in spite of more and more market saturation or massive market saturation, imagine, let's say there are 1 million boudoir photographers in Fargo, North Dakota. We're one of them. Everyone's got a boudoir photography website trying to rank page 1 on Google. Right now, there's only 10 organic slots for 1 million boudoir photographers, so ultra competitive. And we don't have enough time to build a brand, so our only hope, our only solution is S-cubed methodology. And as a result, we realize, hey, man, we got to crank this up to the max. So we do S-cubed methodology, we crank it up to the max. And let's say we're getting like we take over the first 300 slots of social search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. Take up those slots, and as a result, let's say it flows onto Google, and say we're taking the first 300 Google organic slots as well for high intent boudoir buyer search. And what actually happens is Google search is 10 organic slots per page. So dude, we're taking like the first 30 pages of Google. So let's say we do that, and guess what? Anytime any boudoir buyer in our city is searching on social networks or in Google, then what actually happens is we're basically the only one they see across all surfaces. I mean, if they want to find us an organic search result, we're basically the first 300. They got to go page like 31 to basically see any of our competitors. And approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 only searches. Who the heck's going to page 31? So you can see how powerful this is. So obviously in this situation, whose business is growing? Most likely ours. Whose business is stalling, dying, disappearing? The 999,999 other boudoir photographers who are competing, but no searchers can find them. And so this is what the magic of S-cubed methodology can enable. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we now have page 1 visibility. Get our initial benefit, more slots page 1 on Google. Get our second initial benefit is every new slot we get, we actually kick off a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. Now, this is super awesome. A lot of boudoir photographers feel like this is actually their benefit they like the best. Making other boudoir photographers become disappearing boudoir photographers on page 2, maybe on page 3, and eventually those competitors' businesses disappear. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this is where the GBC universe recommends hitting 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google search. And that's because basically everyone else will be 1 out of 10 slots. So we're going to be dominating all of them, looking totally different from all the others, really catching buyers' eyes because they're seeing our name so much. And if the off rare chance someone else has 2 slots, page 1 on Google, then we're still dominating them. And finally, we know that boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. This is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. But we now have a solution. We can utilize S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, look at my results here utilizing S-cubed methodology for myself. I went to rank for the term BLCS boudoir and take as much page one slots as possible. So let's see the results I got by exclusively using S-cubed methodology. Let's get organic slot one here, Instagram. That's me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. And as a result, found from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, in only 10 days, purely utilizing S-cubed methodology. So these are the results that I got. So we're not going to say if this boudoir photography business has BSS, yes or no, for these 2 Google searches. So let's see. Boom. All right. Santa Clara, San Jose. All right, right here. So Santa Clara. All right, so let's see. We got 1 out of 10. And that. And, well, we got 1 out of 10. I mean, we got the Google, but we don't get that as Google, the 10 organic slots. So we got 1 out of 10. Dang. Yeah, no, I know actually Santa Clara is right in the middle of San Jose, so that actually makes sense. More kind of keyword overlap competing for these slots. So yeah, dude, we got BSS here, Boudoir search sameness. Let's simply look at the 10 organic slots. Now let's also look at San Jose. All right, so we got 1 out of 10. We got all right. We got 1 out of 10 again. So we got BSS. All right, so we got BSS for both searches. We're at 1 out of 10 for both. And so, yeah, we got BSS, and also we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots to really get that boudoir search visibility. You're just a boudoir photographer, and you've done the local search for yourself with a high intent boudoir buyer keywords, and you have also done the same for the city search, and you've had BSS for 1 or both those searches, or you've not hit the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 page 1 Google searches for 1 or both of those searches. And you've accepted and you know and you see now that the false belief of page 1 quality is exactly that false. Google actually wants to give as many page 1 links to us as possible as we want to take. And so you're saying, well, that's exactly what I'm looking for. S-cubed methodology is my only way forward. You're liking the initial benefit. One of the initial benefits, which is more slots page 1 on Google for the highest intent buyer keywords. Liking the second initial benefit, which is more which is kicking more competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. So making them disappear and eventually making them go out of business. And you're also liking, you're understanding the market saturation. People get new gear, yeah, over time, more boudoir photographers enter. This market slowly gets more and more saturated. But now you're looking ahead and you're saying, wow, AI is going to be taking a ton of people's jobs. So you're seeing that and you're like, okay, actually there's going to be a larger and larger flood of people coming in to be boudoir photographers as AI takes more people's jobs. So you're thinking ahead and you're like, all right, I got to fortify my position on page 1. Can't simply dominate. I got to fortify it. I got to have like so many backup links that Google wants to rank on page 1, but we only got 10 slots, so like Google literally cannot rank all my links there. And I need to do that so that current boudoir photographers can no longer rank on page 1, and also guarantee future boudoir photographers that come in from AI taking their jobs will also no longer be able to rank on page 1. And you're saying S-cubed methodology is the only solution to deliver that as well. And you're liking the future benefits, kind of longer term, which are, kind of the longer, every single day we successfully execute S-cubed methodology. What we're actually doing is we are increasing the probability that, we're kind of building up these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our brand, our business name, our website, our social handles. out in like the invisible AI mindshare space. So we're kind of putting these columns like in our like the Parthenon in Athens, Greece, or like spokes, on our bike tire going to the central hub, which is our brand. We're putting all these spokes or columns attached to us. And what this does is this increases the probability that we show up here AI overview right at the top, the most premium placement. We cannot buy this AI overview with Google PPC ads. So every day we successfully execute this, we increase the probability we're shown here in premium placement, no ad cost, and guarantees our competitors does not get it. And also, since we're building up this AI mindshare, we increase the probability AI search services recommend us as well. So we're talking ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Every day we successfully execute methodology. We're actually building these invisible thematic keywords on our around our brand. And as a result, we're increasing the probability every single day AI search recommends us when someone's looking for a boudoir photographer in their city through AI search app. And, Google right now is still approximately 9% of global search, but dude, AI search is growing every single day. Last time I did AI search for boudoir photographers in a city, it was gave me 3. And I actually went to like Google for those searches, and dude, I found like 60. Like, dude, if AI's only recommended 3, we need to get onto those 3 by any means possible. And I believe studying this, understanding it, that it's this back end AI mindshare. Gotta build momentum into it. Frequency, repetition, relevance, authority, age. These all factor in, kind of all weighted on the AI search backend. And the final thing you're thinking about, can build a brand, estimated 8x faster. And also, you understand my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you've decided to be a first mover because you want to box out your competitors, ensure that they don't get access to this, and then you can actually essentially guarantee a massive gap between you and your current boudoir photographers and any future boudoir photographers that will be coming from AI taking people's jobs. And as a result, build a massive back-end AI mindshare momentum for showing up the highest probability with AI search. And you also understand the converse, which is if a competing boudoir photographer, jumps on this before you, then we'd be building that momentum, getting all those benefits for them. You'd have a higher chance of getting kicked off page 1 of Google, going on to page 2 to deeper pages, losing. You're becoming a disappearing boudoir photographer, or more disappearing if you currently are already there, and actually slowing, basically on the path to the boudoir photography business disappearing. Plus, you'll be building up this massive back-end AI mind share for search momentum with your competitor. And so what you'd have to do is you'd have to go rederive, or actually derive for the first time, S-cubed methodology. And you would never actually truly know if you derived it correctly. Then you'd have to go and execute on S-cubed methodology every single day. And when you do all that, you're simply maintaining the gap, meaning your competitor continuously building every single day. So you'd actually have to double or triple our S-cubed methodology output every single day to close that gap, pull the AI mindshare momentum away from you and your competitor and towards you for the back-end AI mindshare for higher probability of recommendations in AI search. And you would never feel 100% confident even executing an S-cubed methodology because you would not know if you derived it correctly. So you probably actually wouldn't put in the time to execute double or triple. And double or triple might take like 80 hours a day. Like, who literally has time to do for 80 hours a day? Ain't nobody got the time. So after understanding all that, you've decided, screw that. I've decided to be a first mover. I'm going to be the first one to use S-cubed methodology in my city. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM. The hospital is closed for new patient intake at the moment. So even if you wanted to work with me, you cannot. But when I open up the hospital for new patient intake, then shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify for using our S-cubed methodology.